Did you name your new cat?
Yeah, it's granola.
Granola and muesli.
Muesli and granola.
Oh yeah,
Of course.
that's cute.
If we get a third one, it's going to be porridge. We can call it porry for sure.
Well, you wouldn't call it oat? Oaty?
Oh, I like
oats.
I like also matcha.
No.
What's wrong with matcha?
Do you like matcha?
Yeah. I like matcha.
You're one of them.
Yeah. Well, we have a cocktail at work called matcha, and it's just really fun to say.
Matcha.
Yeah, matcha. It's really nice.
There's some world in which that's mildly offensive, and I don't. There's somewhere.
It depends on the accent you put on.
I think no accent's probably better.
Yeah, well, of course. Less offensive.
Matcha. All right.
Good.
Welcome to Magic the Flavouring, the Magic the Gathering podcast, where we talk about all things magic, flavour design, and lore. I'm your host, Andy Mann.
Hello, this is Nathan Cancel.
And you are witnessing in real time two men in their 30s coming off the back of a bank holiday weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Where, I mean, we didn't actually go to the same festivals, but we both went to a series of day festivals. And it's now Wednesday, and that was across Saturday, Sunday, and I'm not right.
He's weak.
I'm in decline.
Come on,
I'm
buddy.
at least in decline.
Come on, buddy. No, I agree. It gets harder. It gets harder.
It's really harder.
It's the shock. But that's why you always have to have the day off after. You know.
Yeah. Well,
you did back to back.
Well, so one of them was an actual day festival, like a let's get on it.
Let's get this party started.
Let's get it party started. And then the other one was like a family day festival in Peckham, near where my partner lives in London. And the family festival was almost as pumping as like the kind of ticketed one.
Oh yeah.
You've recently come back from vacation as well.
Yeah, I went to Marbella.
Marbella,
mate. Yeah, I actually went to the nice posh old town part of it.
Did you?
It was really lovely. Well, and we stayed in the Hard Rock Hotel actually, so it's 50-50. It was real
classy.
Yeah, real look around, being like, holy nonsense. There's some inflated posteriors and bosoms in this vicinity.
I'm going to Sri Lanka for 2 weeks.
That's gonna be a very different experience.
Yeah. I'm gonna be because for one, I'm gonna be fucking eaten alive by mosquitoes, get me some dengue fever, and probably spend most of the time on a bed.
Diphtheria, mate.
I got the boosters for those, to be fair.
Good.
So yeah, I'm all jabbed up. But yeah, so we're kind of in a weird state of like.
Hey, it's holiday time.
It's holiday time.
Yeah, man. It's the beginning of summer. We are kicking off.
We're here to talk Final Fantasy. Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
The previews haven't technically finished by the time that we're recording this. Because 3-week fucking preview season is a week too long. I feel I've definitely felt it. I know a lot of other people have as well.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks is probably the sweet spot. But there's a lot of ground to cover in this set. There's lots of. Every card is iconic, right? Or every card should be iconic.
Yeah.
And when you've got 16 games to pull from, if every card in the set isn't killing it, what the fuck are you doing?
I've already put this out on social, so I don't feel too bad saying it here. Everyone knows I'm not a big Universes Beyond fan. That thing is a given. There is, out of every Universes Beyond that's come and been, including the ones that people love, like the Warhammer, Doctor Who, and Fallout, all were lauded, right, as being really good, big successes. I think it'd be a hypocrite for me to say this one's okay because I'm into a Final Fantasy game. I'm a big Final Fantasy 6 fan. There is something in the air with this one where you think, they've really done it, haven't they?
It's exciting. It's so as someone who's played significantly more Final Fantasy games than you have, but still a large portion. I'm not an old Final Fantasy game player. I haven't played any pre-7 games. I've got Final Fantasy 6 completing download on my Switch.
You're gonna have such a good time.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Or a terrible time.
Well, yeah, let's see. I haven't done an old school JRPG in a really long time.
Those 8-bit ones are a fucker.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun. But then I also did I stopped at 13. I didn't do any modern gen game console ones, when it gets really big and impressive, 14, 15, and 16. So I'm kind of in that middle barrier. I'm proper boom. It's not boom. I'm not boomer. I'm I'm millennial. I'm a proper millennial fantasy gamer.
What was it? 1997.
PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, bitch.
With Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8 kind of get released back to back. A couple of years later, Final Fantasy 9. So yeah, my relationship to Final Fantasy, I guess, then, is that I didn't play on my own a Final Fantasy game until I was in my 20s. All of my friends, so we were a Nintendo and Sega household. I think my brother did have a PlayStation. I think he actually did, he was the only, but in his room, whereas all the other consoles were in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did have Final Fantasy, but there's a bit of an age gap between me and my brother. This isn't meant to be a therapy session, I promise.
Okay.
So, we weren't necessarily vibing on the same level when he was playing that game.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of my friends had PlayStations. They were all Sony people. So Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 8, I know enough about it to kind of point at a TV screen and go, Cloud, Sephiroth. I can do that. And I know that much, having not played them. I've watched the Let's Play with Graham Stark from Bloody Randy Run when he played through Final Fantasy 7 in prep for the remake master. I don't remember much of it, I must admit. So, if for the purposes of today's format, which you'll explain because I have no fucking idea what it is, I promise you this isn't like me trying to cheat the system. And then I was kind of aware of Final Fantasy 9 going forwards because I was into video games right up until I went to uni. And then when I got to uni, I downloaded a bunch of emulators. I think when we spoke about the Pokemon episode, that's when I started replaying Pokemon. And I did want to play a Final Fantasy, so I downloaded Final Fantasy 6 because it ran really well on an emulator. And I played it through 3 times, and every time I get about 2/3 of the way through after the kind of big halfway switch, which I'm not going to spoil too much for you throughout the course of this episode. And the game just kind of has a real big sort of skill jump. And every time I get sideswiped, I'm like, fuck this game! And then every time I complete it, I'm like, yay! But it's a real, they're big. They're really big, those games, man.
Yeah, so I think the fun thing about this set is it's given me equal amounts of FOMO for the games that I haven't played yet. And want to now play. I really, really want to play 15. It looks like it's a lot of fun. But it also rekindles my those cool moments that you've played. 7, 8, 9. 10 and 12, I probably put more time in than the other 3, but there's more nostalgia. The further back you go, that the getting the triple triad. So I mean that's the thing. That's one thing. This is all visual mechanics, right? There's no songs or anything in here. There are a couple of track names on cards, which is really cute.
I guarantee there's going to be commander tables across the world where people are going to be playing Spotify playlists of Final Fantasy 7. I to play the battle music when they play in the game and shit.
Yeah, that's inevitable. So, I mean, in general, I guess the big thing about a set like this, right, and the big question mark is always: does the flavor match the game? Does the card game or the card set does it feel like all of the characters have done justice? Do you feel like you have moments where you literally go, "Oh, well, of course that makes so much sense"? It's the seeing other or pushing other IPs through the lens of Magic, and does it warp them too much to be unrecognizable, like maybe some Lord of the Rings cards were? I think mechanically they were missing on quite a few points. Or do they get it? Do they hit a home run and get everything, hit the nail on the head on certain characters? So we can. What the plan for me is, or what I thought kind of works, and this is kind of a half Tim Willoughby idea. Shout out to Tim Willoughby. Is that let me show you a card and see if you can judge what the character is based on the mechanics of that card. And kind of essentially, it's like a micro. Instead of doing flavor picks or anything, we're essentially doing a hyper focus on a few different characters across the different games and being like, have they hit it or have they missed it?
So you're going to describe the card to me. You're going to show me the card, and I have to guess what role, who that character is, what kind of part they play in that game. Yeah, because I played enough JRPGs to understand character arcs and all these kind of thing. My problem with JRPGs is the same problem I have with a lot of anime I like, which is it gets to the end of the second act and they completely shift genre. So we're this is
suddenly space.
Yeah, this is
in the future.
Yeah, this is a detective serial that's about a futuristic world where people can do pre-crime and what is the thing I'm referencing there? There's a detective one.
Is that Minority Report?
It's essentially Minority Report, but anime. And then, about 2/3 of the way through, they go, also, it's demons. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they do that a lot. Yeah. It's the one with the gun. There's a gun. Someone please tell me on Bluesky. I watched 2 seasons of this fucking thing. They've got a gun that can detect whether you're a criminal. And if you're a criminal, it activates and it shoots you. And if not, it doesn't.
That sounds cool.
It's really cool. If I can remember what it was, I'll fucking reference it for you. Anyway. You've got those, you're going to do them like me. I've got one collection of cards that I'm going to describe to you the scenario, but because you are about to play Final Fantasy 6, I will, for the listener, just so they know what game I'm playing, omit the third part of it, so you have something to still look forward to because it's a
Thanks.
fairly iconic scene.
I don't really mind spoilers too much, but yeah,
This is a
I appreciate
gameplay
what you're
spoiler that is like it's not just a story thing. It's like if I told you this, it would kind of ruin the moment for you if you were to do this thing. And then this is only an hour long record. Apologies for people who are expecting another 1 hour 40, which is like our fucking average at the moment.
Yeah, we'll probably do another episode when we come back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind looking at this set on a greater scope because I think it's a really good. It's got a lot to tackle and a lot to look at more than just an average Commander set.
Yeah, well, it's a standard set.
And we didn't do it with Lord of the Rings, and I think this is actually a better translation than the Lord of the Rings is. So,
well, both of which have already had card games by Fantasy Flight. So
we're taking over. Magic's just going from everything. Everything.
All right, let's jump into it. What are we doing?
Okay, so are we going to start with you?
No, let's do you.
Okay, all right. We'll start with number 7 then, because I feel like 7's the one you're probably going to be like, well, I know who these characters are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of more a nice. Do you think it actually matches up to their character or not? We're going to start with Cloud, Mega Mercenary. He's a 2/1, for white. Human soldier mercenary. How do you feel about him being both a soldier and a mercenary?
I don't love it because in the game, so he is a soldier, and that's literally, isn't that like the group he's part of? Like, is a soldiers? They're called soldiers, and it's like an acronym, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's capitalized. It's always capitalized whenever anyone's speaking it.
Yeah, this is not when he's with the terrorist group. This is like the kind of group he was with. Or he thinks he was with.
Well, so essentially, you become a soldier when you go through like Mako, infusion.
Yeah.
Essentially, turns you into a super soldier.
So I don't know if because he becomes part of Avalanche.
Hence the mercenary.
But he's not both at the same time.
Well, this is the thing, because once you're a soldier, you're always a soldier, and that's what they say.
But he was never a soldier because
he is a soldier. He is absolutely.
But he's got brain damage.
Doesn't matter. Even though Zach was, technically, he was never in soldier, but because Zach was, and he's mixed with Zach, and he himself is also a trained, a trained fighter who also has Mako enhancement by proxy, kind of sidewinding.
That whole storyline, I'm just like, that's where it really jumps the shark. Where you're like, you could have just not done any of that. This is
what the whole point is. Like, it's like everything's cool, and then it's kind of like a little bit mutationy stuff. Turns out alien.
Yeah.
Forget these crazy ancient magicians from back in. There's also alien.
Yeah.
Absolutely an alien. Cool. So when he enters the battlefield, you search your library for an equipment, reveal that, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. And as long as he's equipped, if an ability of himself or an equipment attached to himself triggers, it triggers an additional time. So what's this guy about? He gets your equipments and he doubles up your equipment.
He's got his Buster Sword.
Yeah, he's got the Buster Sword.
Which is like a sword within a sword within a sword.
So that's kind of when you get to like Advent Children, it's like a combination. Like
right.
He attaches all of them together and it makes like, eventually...
Like, is that the CGI with the weird
Yeah. And he's got them all
emos.
and he's got all of them in his
bike.
Which is
I have seen that.
Pretty fucking dope, I'm not going to lie.
A lot of people despise Advent Children.
I don't understand why. I mean, more Final Fantasy 7, just more Final Fantasy 7. That can't be a bad thing. I guess, it'd be, there is also another card in his, there's like a starter deck, like a pre-constructed deck. Aren't there
like 2 or 3 for each of them?
I think there's only a Sephiroth and Cloud one. So he's blue, black, and Cloud is white, red. And in that one, I think when he's equipped, he gets indestructible and vigilance or something, and things cost stupid to him. I'm kind of annoyed that he's just basic equipment, but then at the same time, he is just a mercenary. Like, and every character in that game can just have everything applied to them. So he is just a sword guy.
I like that he's not red.
Yeah, same.
Because he's not passionate.
No, he's really not stoic.
He's like as all fucking protagonist characters.
But he's not even like super selfish stoic, like some like we'll get to another character soon. But he's just kind of like just a shy guy. He's just a shy dude who tried really hard and failed a little bit, and then ended up kind of just trying his best, whilst also getting really really fucked up with Sephiroth cells and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Aerith Gainsborough, not Aerith, obviously, because this isn't the wrong port. 2 and a white for a 2/2 lifelink human cleric. All of his kind of tracks. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Aerith. When Aerith Gainsborough dies, put X +1/+1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Aerith.
Now, I know, again, Final Fantasy 7, so I'm half aware of her story.
Yes.
She does die.
Yeah, she does.
In like the kind of sort of first act, sort of like
it's kind of like, I guess you'd call it the midpoint of the game. It's kind of it's the turning point in the game,
which is nuts because you can romance her.
Yeah, there's because it feels like in my mind it's always later than it actually is, because you can do a lot and you can play a lot of the game and do a lot of the game up until her death. Obviously, the story can't progress past that. and there is a fair amount of story that happens afterwards. But
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
spend a lot of time with her. But yeah,
So when she dies, she
Yeah.
puts counters on things.
Yeah.
Now,
each other legendary creature.
so this could be one of two things if we're in the format of JRPG and turn-based fighting games. It could just be a narrative choice where it's like when she dies, everyone's just like, "Oh no, Aerith," and blah, 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 blah. Is her game mechanic when she like faints on the battlefield, she buffs other people, or no?
No, I mean, I guess you could say that the fact that she's got lifelink because she's a healer, she's a white mage, and then whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on her, she gets stronger the more healing magic she does. She doesn't have one where she when she dies, she brings everyone back. No, but you hit the nail on the head. The idea is that her dying is the rallying cause to kind of buff everyone else and be like, right, now we're not going to let her die in vain. You know, it's going to make her stronger and drive us further forwards. You know, and it's kind of like her death is tragic. Don't get me wrong, but it's almost like got this kind of like inevitability of like, no, don't worry, like this needed to happen. You know. And it's a massive shame because the holy magic that she had tied into her hair that drops, and you kind of like you know feel really bad because you can't get hold of it and use it. Turns out the only thing blocking that was all Sephiroth's bullshit nonsense anyway. So her dying would have triggered the holy magic to save the planet, kind of thing.
It's fine. People don't talk about how much bullshit Final Fantasy VII really is in terms of the storyline. Like they set it
Summon
up.
Meteor, man. You summon a fucking meteor.
They set it up being like this is a steampunk like economic disaster pollution narrative.
Yeah. Eco-terrorists and
Eco-terrorists, and then halfway through it goes alien god magic about mummy issues. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but I mean, it does all. And this is the thing I like about it is the thing about 7 that's great is it has so much extra kind of gameplay to it. We're not going to keep on this for too long. But it does enough to kind of answer enough questions. But you go, oh, okay, it's justified. I mean, they're now fucking up again with the remake that goes into all other manner of kind of timey-wimey ultimate universes. But other games definitely get more wackadoodle than 7. I feel like 7's surprisingly grounded, all things considered.
Fair enough. All right, fair enough.
Moving from 7 to 8, I've got 3 cards kind of.
Yeah, I know a little bit less about 8.
Cool, right. We're going to go with the two like main people. So the opening cinematic of Final Fantasy 8. Have you seen it with the two guys with the blades?
Yes.
And they're fighting and
the
then
gun
they slash
blades.
each other?
Yes.
Cool. So the two people we have in that scene are Squall, Seed Mercenary, 2, black, white, for a Human Knight Mercenary. He's a 3/4 and his ability is Rough Divide. This is one of those named flavor like kind of ability kind of things. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. When he deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Oh.
You've also got Cypher Almasi, legendary creature Human Knight. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. This one wasn't named like Rough Divide was, but they're essentially the same ability. Fire Cross is named, however. Whenever Cypher Almasi deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell will be put into your graveyard, exile it instead.
Now, what I only really know like the opening premise of Final Fantasy VIII. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand of Final Fantasy VIII, when we talk about stories going off the fucking deep end, 8's really fucking like...
Yeah.
Goes wild.
Timey-wimey memory nonsense
bullshit. Yeah. So they're...
Time compression.
School... They're both students...
Yes.
At a military school.
Yes, indeed.
Because Japanese media loves giving students weapons.
Yeah, and having cool uniforms, because they all
yeah,
have
yeah,
cool
yeah.
uniforms.
Yeah, that's what the jacket is. Yeah,
yeah.
That's his fucking school uniform, right?
Yeah.
So Seed Mercenary... But, like, is it a school for, like, the kind of... planet's military,
essentially, and like the one that you're in happens to be the progenitor, like the original. Like Edia and Sid had this idea when they're young which is kind of fucked up when you think about it. Even back in the orphanage, they were kind of training these kids to kind of battle against this big bad, Ultimisia sorceress lady.
Sure. Yeah, and all the teachers are like really hot.
And they're using all these summons which wipe their memory, so they forget they even grew up together. It's real fucked up.
Isn't
by the way, spoilers, I guess, for anyone who hasn't played Final Fantasy games.
They play a card game in this. There's like a card game.
Oh
yeah, right. And you, like, a lot of people like get to the like.
I've just earwormed
the school section, which is the first one. Like, it's like one of the first like non-player characters you meet are like, do you want to play a game? And people spend hours just doing that.
Mate, there's a whole triple triad like court. They will have like there's the jack, the cards. It's great. It's
I
fantastic.
can't. Yeah, I'm already bored.
Anyway.
Is the double strike thing because his whole thing is that he can slash and then fire his gun?
That you say the idea is you pull the trigger as you strike, and the idea is you can shoot at the same time as slice.
Fucking me. Oh, is that in the cinematic?
Gunblade.
Like the bullet goes down the length of the sword.
But they don't actually shoot each other in the face. No, they more just slash each other. In
Yeah,
the face.
yeah,
It's supposed to be training. I guess the idea from their first ability is that they both are loners by nature.
Yeah.
So they both have that same kind of go it alone nature. Whereas he's a little bit more stoic. It's more that Cypher thinks he's the best and no one can keep up with him, kind of thing.
Is Cypher not a mercenary? I guess he's not. Squall's a mercenary. So they always start out as part of like, or this era of Final Fantasy. They always start out as part of the establishment, and they break away when their worldviews turn around, right?
So what do you think of these guys? Are good guys, bad guys?
Well, Squall's a good guy. He's the good guy.
The good guy. Okay. Yeah.
He's the protagonist. He is the protagonist of that game. Yeah. But he's white black because he's kind of moody.
Yeah, he's also kind of I guess self-serving a little bit. He's not as caring as he probably should be. He gets there eventually.
He's got that anime bad boy but with a heart of gold hair.
Yeah.
And then Passion's bad, so he's a bad guy.
Yeah, Cypher's a bad guy. It's almost like you're your nemesis. So he wants to become a sorceress's knight, and he ends up joining Edia, and you fight him throughout the game.
Is that actually what they call them, knights?
Yeah. So he becomes. That's why I'm surprised he's not. That's why he's a human knight rather than being a knight mercenary. Whereas because obviously he's a student, whereas Cypher defects and breaks away. All right. So sorceress's knight gets things back from your graveyard that are spells. The school kind of tries to bring Renoa back from being incapacitated. Doesn't really do any reviving. It's a bit of a miss on that ability.
And they're both 3/4s.
So they can't
kill each other.
Yes.
Very good.
Right? Cool.
I understand magic.
Cool, good. This is and I've got one more from Final Fantasy VIII because I feel like this one's quite interesting. Zell Dinch, 2 and a red for a human monk. You may play additional land on each of your turns. He gets +1/+0 for each land you control. At the beginning of your end step, return a land you control to its owner's hand. My weapons are these fists of mine. I'm going to try and scroll. Can I scroll a little bit less? Can we scroll back? Can we unzoom? That's fine. You can kind of see everything.
Yeah.
And he's a 0/3. 2 and a red.
Okay.
What do we make of this guy? Also red.
Yeah, he's red. So he's red. So he's not a bad guy, but he's like the kind of comic relief of the group, I'm going to say.
Yep.
I'm going to say that because he's all lanky and he's got kind of silly hair.
Yep. I mean, Final Fantasy all characters.
I know, I know, like Cloud's are blonde, right? But he's kind of like all broody. This guy is what's his fucking name from Yu-Gi-Oh? Joey.
Joey.
Yeah. That's him.
Joey,
this is this guy. He's the monk. So yeah, he's the punchy fighter of the group. Yeah, because he's a monk. Monks are a thing in Final Fantasy across the way. So +1/+0 for each land you control. So it is his ability that the more like magic you have at your disposal, he can punch better. So
the interesting thing here, right, is a lot of people have question marks about him because he's literally, as you say, happy-go-lucky, punchy, yeah. This is literally the moment in the they get all captured in prison, and because obviously they can't take away his weapons because they're his fists.
Oh, they're his fists.
He punches his way out and makes a jailbreak for everybody. So this is kind of like his big moment.
He punches his way out of a metal prison.
Kind of, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's all run by humans, so whatever.
Okay.
So obviously the paying additional land on each of your turns. Red doesn't normally do that, but he's like super impulsive, hot-headed. He always usually gets like ahead of himself. So the getting ahead of himself and then kind of maybe blundering or getting too incensed or going too far. At the beginning of your end step, you return a land. So he gets himself all revved up. But
he's got a Mike Tyson tattoo on his face.
He does have a Mike Tyson tattoo on his face.
That's really 90s. That's the most 90s thing ever.
There is also his limit break. My Final Heaven has him running around the entire globe to hit.
I've seen videos of that.
So maybe that's also why the land thing happens. And then he also, within the games, he will also know the tidbits of the different places you go to. So he's almost like good at geography and world knowledge, which makes him landsy. So the more land you see, the more places you go to, the more knowledge he grows, the stronger he gets.
That's
kind of
a
cute.
real stretch.
It's a real weird. Yeah, but the thing is that happens. It's kind of funny. Anyway, good. I'm glad you got that. I'm glad you nailed the head and hit the nail on the head there. On to 9. We've got Zidane, Tantalus Thief.
Less about 9.
Good.
The main character has a tail, and they changed the art style to be they're all a little bit more chibi chibi.
Kind of a little bit, yeah, absolutely. You're doing well, sir. Let me resize this picture because it is ginormous. There we go. Now we can get the whole thing in. So Zidane, Tantalus Thief, 3 red, white, legendary creature, human, mutant, scout, 3/3. When it enters, gain control of target creature an opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it, it gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. Whenever an opponent gains control of a permanent from you, you create a treasure token.
Oh, yeah, this is the main guy.
This is the main guy.
This is the main dude.
Yeah.
He's red and white because he's kind of impetuous and fun, but he's a good guy, so he's
a hero. I mean, he's not a hero, he's a thief, but obviously by the end of it, he becomes a hero.
That doesn't mean anything.
He's very dashing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are thief characters throughout Final Fantasy which have this kind of same trope.
Would you think like Aladdin would probably be white-red?
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
But also, like, the mechanic of stealing stuff from opponents are, like, in the game. I know, so, like, think of Final Fantasy VI, one of the main characters is essentially this archetype, where his main ability is you can do, it might even be called steal, and you steal items from enemies.
Yeah. That's the Dane's,
there you go.
Main ability.
And then, is it when he gets, he recruits someone to his cause, and they are good for a bit?
Right, so the main opening point, and there's a card in this set that shows this, is that Zidane captures the local princess.
Oh, okay.
And steals her upon her request. So the idea being that this is showing that moment, and I kind of like the idea that when you give things back, he keeps treasures that he'll still steal from you even once he gives. You know, he might recruit you over, but he's probably going to steal from you a little bit anyway.
Yeah,
a little benefit. The fact he gives the creature lifelink and haste, you know, the idea that it's a little like nod to having Garnet in your party when he steals her.
Mutant, obviously he's a mutant. He's got a monkey tail.
Yeah,
but in terms of magic, have they done mutant outside of an unset?
I don't believe so, not yet, because you had mutants obviously in Fallout, and now there's going to be mutants in Spider-Man. So there's almost specifically universes beyond cross-mutant.
Well, because then didn't they do mutant in, what was it, what was the one, Unstable?
Unfinity?
No, what was the one which you combined all the animals? Unfinity was the space one.
Oh, yeah, that was Unstable, yeah. All right. So he's cool. I mean, I think he's quite a cool ability as well. You can blink him and stuff like that.
All right.
The mutant being that he isn't actually from this planet. He was created from the same place that Kuja, the main bad guys. Again, big spoilers for the people who play the Final Fantasy
They're
games.
really playing with magic tropes, right? So we've had a red card that does lands, now a red-white card that does steal effects. That's kind of interesting.
I mean, this is the other thing. They get to kind of like flex the colour pie a little bit, and then you can kind of build not only take a really beloved character, but they do something that's kind of niche, but also in a way that's quite fun. And you can combine threaten effects with blink effects. Like there's a card Mog that gives away things in the set, and draws you a card. So you steal their creature, you attack with it, and then you use Mog to give it back but not to the same person, back to a different opponent instead. So in Commander, you can do some real funky, tricky things with this, which is quite cool. Then number 10. No, we need to do Garnet. We need to do Garnet because we do the girlfriends if we're going to do the boyfriends.
That's the rule?
Why did I say it like that?
Didn't do it for Final Fantasy VIII?
No, we didn't, because Renoa sucked. And also, she makes a dog, and in the game she has a dog, so it's not exactly exciting. Garnet's a little bit more interesting. Garnet, Princess of Alexandria. This is the princess that Zidane steals. Green-white for a 2/2, legendary creature, human, noble cleric. She has lifelink. Whenever she attacks, you may remove a lore counter from each of any number of sagas you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Garnet for each lore counter removed this way. Someday I will be queen, but I will always be myself.
Lore counters, sagas. So I know the sagas in this set
are
the summons.
They are indeed, yeah.
Which are a common theme throughout Final Fantasies, in whatever way you want to call them. Final Fantasy VI, they call them something. They're a big part of the actual game. Andy, why can't I think about it? You'll figure it out. Yeah. They're more a part of the game in terms of actual, like, narrative plot driving than in some Final Fantasies they just happen to be
you pick them up
thing.
Off the ground. I've got Lightning Guy now. Great, fantastic.
The in Final Fantasy VI they are like essentially like they are the plot.
Yeah, sure.
The fuck are they called? Something I don't know.
Some Eidolons?
Nah, who knows?
Espers.
Thank you.
Schedule them with a regular Venom Clutcher.
So she does something with them. You may remove a lore counter from each of any number of sagas. Each of any number for 2 mana.
Yeah.
Put a 1/1 counter on Garnet for each lore counter removed this way. So she gets stronger over the amount of summons you have?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, you do start the game with her with a bunch of summons already equipped to her, and then she gets essentially depowered.
Oh.
So throughout the game, you essentially get new different gems, and each of them have different summons on that you can.
Do you know the story of Final Fantasy IX?
Yeah. It's one of the ones I played through.
So is Alexandria? She's the Princess of Alexandria.
Yeah.
They are a society that is like the main power of like their world, and the reason they're able to subjugate everyone else is because they have all the magical powers, and she's the key to that. So when she gets stolen away, they're trying to find her because she's the key to all the power.
No, unfortunately not. So, more her more everything's kind of benevolently okay. There is this kind of like bad area, like mist is bad and monsters and stuff, but it's kind of like an equilibrium. And then Queen Brahm starts becoming nutterbuzz and starting to take over and gets power hungry. And obviously she wants to escape from her mum because her mum's getting a little bit too big for her boots. And then there's like sky lasers.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't there be sky lasers?
Is that what the Flavour takes? Someday I will be queen, but I'll always be myself. Is that because she's like, I won't be crazy like my mum?
Yeah, she essentially is like, she's worried about having to take over the crown. Again, spoilers, mum dies, so eventually she has to become queen, but she doesn't want to lose sight of who she is. The whole point of Garnet is she's trying to find, a quest to stay true to herself when she's, got persecution all around, which is relatable, right? That's just a modern problem that everyone can relate to. Not the queen bit, but the other bit. Cool. 9-10. Okay, we're gonna do Yuna. So so she's a summoner essentially, and the idea is that she gets stronger the more summons that she has, and the more control she has over them.
Is 10 the one with Blazeball?
Blitzball. Yes, indeed it is.
It's the one. It's all underwater.
Yeah, it's like an underwater sphere, and you play
this is where
crazy if you think about it.
This is where I can see all the characters in my mind's eye,
okay.
but I couldn't fucking tell you a thing about them.
Well, we're gonna go with the main character, who is Yuna, Hope of Spirit. It's not Tidus. Tidus is like a dick.
Is Tidus the boy?
Yeah, Tidus is the main character
with the yellow jacket.
Yeah. But Yuna is the main character of this. This is her story. Even if Tidus keeps saying it's his story, it's my story. She is the Hope of Spira, 3 green white for a legendary creature human cleric, 3/5. During your turn, Yuna and enchantment creatures you control have trample, lifelink, and ward 2. At the beginning of your end step, return up to 1 target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. It's really good in Onyxia.
Yeah, I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, I understand.
If they reskin this, I'll play it. During your turn, you know, have enchantment creatures and trample life. Oh god, it is good in the next 3, isn't it? At the beginning of your so she has mystical pets, which she can summon at will.
She's a summoner. Yes.
She throws Pokemon at people.
I mean, if you consider so she is the white mage of this. She is the Garnet of this game.
She throws like angels at people.
So I mean, yeah. So I guess the comparison here you have to make then is if both of them are doing the similar kind of thing. Yeah. You know? I mean, she is essentially just summoning different Eidolons. It's a little bit more personable. Like the summoning.
Yeah, then it's not. Yeah, it's like part of a normal attack. Is like have Serpent Man, have Dogface. Like she throws them at people.
And then they can have their own. They also have their own abilities. And
stuff
like
that.
But she's the thing.
She's Vivian. She's Vivian Reed, but in Final Fantasy form. Vivian's got the bow that fires all the animals. Yeah, okay,
sure.
That's what she is. I'm 3/5.
Yeah.
How is she a 3/5?
She's got a big butt, man. I mean, I think in terms of strength, I think Garnet's 16. Yuna's a little bit older. She's got a little bit more mystical power than Garnet. Garnet's quite young. The only thing I don't agree with is that she's supposed to also be a sender, so she's supposed to be able to send spirits on. It's just like this dance thing, and it makes.
She's a summoner and a sender.
Yeah,
that's too many things.
Well, exactly. The idea is I think she's the daughter of the last summoner to defeat Sin, who's like this big cataclysmic bad thing that keeps coming back.
Oh yeah.
There's a cycle. The Final Fantasy, the cycle that keeps happening where everything gets destroyed, and then you find out the secret, and then you need to break the cycle. That whole thing. It's just interesting that I guess she makes all of your Eidolons more powerful, rather than necessarily allowing them to stay around longer. Whereas Garnet makes them stay around longer. They have slightly different angles. All I know is that there's a fantastic fucking summon deck out there, that someone's building. I'm sure more than one person's building it. And then we'll look at Tidus, the little wanker.
Why is he a wanker?
He's a little whiny.
He plays basketball or whatever it is.
Blitzball.
Blitzball.
I don't get me wrong. I think he's just stand-in good guy. You know, he's the Harry Potter.
He's a surfer dude. He's not.
He's from the fucking future or the past or whatever. It's like 1,000 years in the past. He gets like eaten and then spat back out again, and it's a different time. And then he's like, "Oh, I don't agree with all of you old school weirdo protectors of Una. I'm also going to come and help her because she needs some fun in her life." And it's just a little bit like, yeah, all right, read the room.
I didn't understand the words you just said.
Good, wonderful. Tidus Blitzball Star, 1
Hey!
white blue for a 2/1. Whenever an artifact you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on Tidus. When Tidus attacks, tap target creature an opponent controls. Every blitzer knows when you've got the ball, you gotta score.
He's a surfer.
Yeah, he's not. He's a swimmer. He's a really strong swimmer. He's a human warrior as well. A human warrior, I guess, because he's a defender of Una.
Whenever artifact control enters, put a 1/1 counter. Doesn't he throw balls at people? He throws the ball.
Walker throws the ball at people.
He's the other. He's the one with the hair.
Yeah, he's like with the ridiculous, with something about Mary jizz quiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When an artifact you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on. Okay, so he does weapons.
Well, what does he need? He's still obviously like. Imagine this is like he's in the game, you know, and it's like, so what's giving them +1/+1 when it enters?
Whenever he gets the ball,
yeah, exactly,
he gets more powerful.
Yeah, and then whenever he
attacks creature, so he goes through the defenders.
There's an ability that he has where he kicks the ball and it stuns one player and then goes. And
he's Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
Have you seen Flash Gordon?
Yeah, I've seen Flash Gordon.
He plays American football for no reason.
Oh, really?
In Ming the Merciless's throne room,
Fantastic.
and instead of just killing him, they all like play football against him.
That's ridiculous. Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
Good, stunning. Yeah,
I love Flash Gordon.
I mean, obviously, I don't like the fact that he's blue-white because he's not particularly wise. I think they gave him blue-white because that's the colours that he is, and you know they need to balance out all of the fucking draft archetypes. He seems fine, you know, whatever. Cool, good. Tidus.
Why would you give him the name Tidus and not Tidus, considering he's water?
I know, because it's the localization based on the words it's supposed to be from, you know, Asian language, not what we.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good. We're going to skip 11 because I didn't play 11. I don't actually know much about 11 whatsoever. Then we're going to go straight to 12.
No, nothing
Good.
about 12.
Right, we're going to talk about two cool. I think this is actually kind of perfect. I think 12 is actually surprisingly underrepresented. I wanted to get bad guys in this as well, which I got like Cypher, but some of them just weren't very good. So I'm showing you kind of like the two main characters, and that's kind of a lie because there's like a narrative of one of the other characters like, well, I am the main, I'm the leading part, I'm the leading man, but he's just the debonair sky pirate or whatever. So instead we're going to show you Vaughn, who's the main person you play as, and then Ash, who's like the heroine.
Oh, I don't know who either of these people are.
So Vaughn, Street Thief, 2 and a red, 2/2, legendary creature, human scouts. Whenever one or more scouts, pirates, and or rogues you control deal combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library. You may cast it, and if you don't, create a treasure token. Whenever you cast a spell that you don't own, put a +1/+1 counter on each scout, pirate, and rogue you control.
Yeah.
And then Ash, Princess of Dalmasca, 2 and a white for a 3/2 human, legendary creature, human rebel noble. That's a mouthful. Whenever Ash attacks, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put them into your hand. The rest on the bottom in a random order. Vaughn doesn't have flavor text, but Ash kind of simply, I am simply myself, no more and no less. And I want only to be free. Very similar vibe to Garnet.
Are these? This is the boyfriend, girlfriend protagonists from Final Fantasy 12.
I wouldn't say they were boyfriend, girlfriend. Like, I mean, he kind of fancies.
They're the kind of counterparts.
Yeah.
The dude's a thief, and she's a princess.
Yeah.
Is that Final Fantasy 9?
It's Aladdin.
It's just the same thing.
Well, it's also Aladdin, but yeah.
Okay, all right.
Though in this particular instance, she's super headstrong and is the leader of the resistance.
Yeah.
And he kind of
she's the rebel,
and he tags along with her.
And
she's Princess Leia.
Sure. And he's Han Solo. Yeah, because he's got his own pirate crew.
I wouldn't even say Han Solo. He's even more Luke Skywalker because he's the boy from the fucking streets.
Oh, sure, but he's got affinity with scouts, pirates, and rogues, which means he probably has a crew. Is he part of a crew?
No, he wants to be a sky pirate. His dream is to become a sky pirate.
Okay, so he wants.
It's not until the very end of the game that ends up, happening.
Okay.
Like in the kind of like, hey, this is what would happen after when everyone goes up.
And then like when he steals, it's impulsive draw off of it's stolen strategy, and then you also get a treasure off it.
You're ragavanning it essentially.
You get a treasure token as well.
That's what ragavan does.
Fucking cracked magic. Whenever you cast a spell you don't own, put a 1/1 counter on each scout. So you can ragavan, then buff your entire team.
Yeah.
they really want us to play Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm. And Ragavan, obviously, is
Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy.
a monkey. Yeah. So what's funny is the reskin of Ragavan is Zidane, because obviously he's thieving pirate, with a monkey tail.
Okay, so that's his deal. He's a shit Han Solo.
So the way, the way I like this is that obviously he doesn't. He's a man of the people, so whenever they do steal things, and whenever they use their opponent's stuff, and it's for the benefit of everybody, so everyone gets a +1/+1.
Oh, if you don't, you get a treasure token.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
And then the idea being, obviously, that he at the beginning of the game, he goes to take this Suncrest, this important artifact that has like lots of uber power, and then obviously that's how he backdoors his way into the main story.
Right.
And then Ash. So she looks at the top cards whenever she attacks. Top 5 cards, put an artifact from one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom.
Okay, so I'm going to take a punt on this game and say, because she's holding a big mystical weapon, that this is like the weapons in this game are like the main magic MacGuffin, and so she's queen of the weapons, or she has an affinity where she can activate all these ancient weapons or whatever the fuck it is, and she's trying to find the sword that will kill the main baddie, and that's the summons are in the weapons.
Kind of like, apart from the very bit at the end, yeah. Essentially, there's a bunch of really, really powerful stones that are like blessed that can only be used by like royalty, and obviously she's royalty. And this sword in particular was hidden behind a bunch of other things and stuff. And this
very weird message for a game.
This allows her to cut another stone from the big ass crystal, which will allow them then to fight back against the imperial powers that be. That are trying to fight against the Rebel Alliance.
Oh, so this is a call for
it's kind of it's Aladdin meets Star Wars.
But like, so what we're saying that the royal family is the other goodies, and like the imperial government is like the.
Well, actually, also there's like spirit space ghosts that are telling everyone what to do, so it's kind of their fault. The gods kind of like obviously choose certain people.
Interesting.
But yeah, and they're like magic. The idea is it was like synthetic magic versus old school magic, but is the old school magic all too fussy wussy with old systems and people.
I mean that's quite a through line with Final Fantasy games.
But then the newer powers that be are also corrupt and super oppressive. So which one's the better one? Who knows?
Okay, I like.
So the idea is that
obviously,
the further she goes through the game, the more she has to find yet another artifact, then yet another MacGuffin. And that's.
I mean, she looks quite Luke Skywalker there.
Yeah, I know, right? The more I think about it, it's a very Star Warsy game actually. But yeah, that's all of them. I mean, as you can probably see as a through line, like they've done pretty well. There are some. I could have chosen some worse ones, and I think if we do a longer episode, we'll definitely look at some ones that I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. But I want to at least kind of show that across the games, that at least for the main characters, they've done justice to kind of gone, hey, we're going to try and line up the abilities within this game to the characters that they are. Some of them are quite generic, like Cloud I think is a bit generic, but at the same time he is also just a generic guy who doesn't actually have anything super special about him until he accidentally stabs Sephiroth and gets turned into a mutant guy.
Alright.
All of his personalities, Zach. Anyway, that's me. That's enough.
Okay, I get it. I think annoyingly they've done a very good job with this, and I say annoyingly because I don't want to play Universes Beyond cards in my game. But like, I think they have towed the line in some, if not most, of the Universes Beyond products. So they've gone, we can't make this too nut butters busted. The time when we did with the One Ring, it really fucked our whole game.
Yeah, there isn't a One Ring in this set that I can think of.
No, but they're all very archetypally good.
Yeah, but I think that's. I mean, also you have to consider this as crime. This is also going to be a standard set, so they need to make sure that the cards are powerful and playable, because you want your cards from the Final Fantasy set to actually be, in the decks. You don't want it just to be, hi, we're still playing the mice, because the mice were real strong.
Yeah, I know, fair enough. Okay, I have a story beat for you, and you're going to tell me what's happening in this story beat. And it's across 3 cards, I'm only going to show you 2 of them. The third one is not necessary for the story beat, but it is a nice add-on. So the 2 cards are Suplex and Phantom Train.
Okay, I know this story beat.
I know this. Well, then here we'll talk about it, and you'll sort of see what you like.
What's his name? Is it Saban?
Sabin. So Suplex is one
in this game. Oh my god, I get to Suplex
in Final Fantasy VI. Yes.
Oh my god.
Suplex is 1 and a red for a sorcery. Choose 1. Suplex deals 3 damage to target creature. If that target creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Exile target artifact. The time has come to put my training to use. And the artwork you see is Sabin running headfirst towards a locomotion train, which has a big red eye on it. And then Phantom Train, which the artwork shows a Phantom Train chasing after 3 figures, one of which is absolutely Sabin, down the track. is a 3 and a black for an artifact vehicle called Phantom Train with trample, a 4/4. Sacrifice another artifact or creature, put a 1/1 counter on this vehicle, it becomes a spirit artifact creature in addition to its other types until the end of turn. So we have a move that can deal 3 damage to target creature, and if it would die, exile it, and exile target artifact, and an artifact vehicle, which is a 4/4.
So I imagine that the idea is in this that you're really not supposed to choose to try to suplex a fucking ghost train. But I imagine that he succeeds at somehow suplexing a ghost train.
Potentially.
Because obviously the idea is that he could deal damage, but it's a 4/4, so it wouldn't deal enough damage to kill it. But because it has the ability to exile target artifact instead, it would be able to exile it.
So, this is a really, really nuanced telling of what this moment is. So the Phantom Train is a boss in the game. It's a non-optional boss, hence why it's not necessarily a spoiler. It's just it will happen at some point.
Yeah.
You, Shadow, and Cyan, who are the other 2 characters in this, go off on a side mission, and you meet this Phantom Train in the Phantom Forest. And the Phantom Train itself, the boss is the train.
Mm-hmm.
The train is possessed, right?
Right.
But you go through the train and you bump into a bunch of fucking mobs, and you bump into a lot of phantoms they're not enemies, they are just phantoms.
Right, sure.
So the idea that you're sacrificing another artifact or creature to make the Phantom Train stronger is like the more souls the Phantom Train has, which is why you have to kill it, then it gets bigger and stronger. Mm-hmm. So that one's fairly grokkable. The exile target artifact is because Sabin has to beat that boss, so he's in your party, so you've got to defeat the Phantom Train. So Suplex does kill the Phantom Train. But Suplex is it's also called Meteor... Oh, is it called Meteor Smash? Meteor Strike? Someone's going to correct me. The localization changes, but a lot of Americans in the Super Nintendo version saw it as Suplex rather than Meteor stuff, because they did a bunch of remakes and remasters of Final Fantasy VI with different sprites and everything. I'd be interested to see which one you're downloading, actually. Suplex is the ultimate version of his Blitz ability, and the way that they did Sabin's a monk, so he's like another fisty kicky one.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they do his abilities with Blitz is very much like Street Fighter style. You have to actually input the move,
button mash, essentially.
So if you do the combination that does Suplex, which is the ultimate version of the Blitz ability, does the most damage, and the damage scales with the Suplex ability. So if you use it against one creature, it does exponentially more damage based on the multipliers.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is, I guess, if you're facing the Phantom Train against someone who casts Suplex with the damage, is that you can sacrifice a bunch of creatures, but actually once you only have one target and you choose to exile an artifact, you can just suplex the fucking train out of existence. Nice. And the reason it's an interesting moment in terms of just fandom is because kicking a train or punching a train is ridiculous, right? And all 3 of those characters are physical attack characters. Sure. So they're literally fighting a locomotion train.
Yeah, just punching a train.
They're also outrunning the train.
Yeah, because it happens behind, because it's chasing you, right?
Yeah.
Turn around and hit it and then keep running.
Yeah. Which is nuts. But the suplex thing is because people it's like an unlockable achievement, to actually achieve suplex on the train and kill it, because you have to kill a bunch of mobs, and you have to get all the damage multipliers right to actually kill the Phantom Train, because the Phantom Train's got one of the highest HPs of all the bosses. It's like a mid-game boss, but it's got a super high HP rate. So to have these 2 cards kind of play off against each other and tell that story, and have the running away and him turning around to fight it, is pretty special.
I'm interested in what the third card is. I wonder what the third card was then. I'll find it later. But that's cool, because his card, Sabin, has Blitz as well, and you blitz him back from the graveyard, which is quite cool. It's nice to know when there are abilities that you can just go, hey, we can just put that on the card, because that's what he does, and we have that ability already in the game.
Well, are you going to look for them? Are you going to look for a magic card, or are you going to play the game?
I'm going to play the game.
Yeah.
I'm not, my one last treat, and that's a card from, I think it's Final Fantasy. It is from Final Fantasy 11. So that's the MMO, which is a game that neither of us have played. Neither of us know anything about, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, I'm just going to show you.
It's got a bunch of rabbit girls in it.
Yeah, I was a rabbit girlfriend. I did Realm Reborn. I wanted to be a rabbit dragoon. I was like, that seems really cool.
I don't know what any of that means.
I played it for 24 hours, I think, total, and I was like, that's enough.
Fair enough.
It's really pretty. Absolute Virtue. 6, white, blue. Legendary creature, Avatar Warrior. This spell can't be countered. Flying. You have protection from each of your opponents. You can't be dealt damage, enchanted, or targeted by anything controlled by your opponents. And it's an 8/8.
Oh.
Aye. What do you reckon of this guy?
Well, he's blue-white, which would that he wouldn't. He's not a bad guy, is he?
I mean, he is. You fight him.
You do fight him. He's
You
a
fight
boss.
him.
He's a raid boss.
He is the
Oh, he's the raid boss.
the raid boss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is the ultimate raid boss.
Okay, so it can't be countered, which means you can't stop him. You can't stop it from happening. It is like a narrative like eventuality that you're going to fight this boss.
I don't know this spell can't be counted as funny for another reason.
Oh, okay. Can you not? Oh, if he does an attack on you, there is a counter mechanic, as in like counter like a parry mechanic. No.
Basically, this guy is so we'll get to like the last ability as well. Is like you have protection from your opponents, so essentially this is an unkillable raid boss.
Oh, okay.
No one was able to legitimately kill this to the point where anytime anyone found a workaround, and I mean like this would take 12 to 15 hours, kind of, constantly fighting it over, doing the same stupid gambit battle mechanics of obviously damage per second, however, blah blah blah. Every time someone found a way to beat it, because it kind of essentially was supposed to be unbeatable, they would patch out the way to beat it. So it literally just became that no matter when, even if someone found a way to beat their ridiculously bullshit unkillable boss, they would go, no, you can't find a workaround, and then they'd patch out the workaround so you could get it stuck in a mountain. They went, can't get stuck in a mountain anymore. You get this certain ability, you can't use that ability anymore. We're going to patch it. So they just made.
What? Why? To what end?
I don't know. I never played the game. I don't know. All I know is Absolute Virtue was so bad that it caused illness in some of the people that tried to kill it. Because they'd be playing for such a long time that become like malnourished, or they wouldn't be sleeping properly.
This is. I mean, obviously, this
is the very epitome of like the gamer killer.
Like obviously, this one's an MMO, right? So it doesn't necessarily apply to this one. But every Final Fantasy game has these stupid bosses, and they're all narratively linear games, right? There are aspects to it where you can find different party members or miss them, or there's certain quests that can come unlocked and locked, but they're essentially gate kept through narrative jump points, where it's like once you pass this point, you're on to the next part of the story of the game.
There's a bunch of sub bits.
Essentially, they're linear games, right? And the fact that every fucking game they still do this thing where it's like it's a linear story, but there are also 6 legendary dragons you can try and find and kill for 12 hours at a time. And you're like, but it's a linear game. Like, it's not a sandbox.
Yeah, I tried telling that to Final Fantasy 12 and Yasmat, who has such a high life total that you literally can leave, save, and come back, and it keeps your progress.
So stupid.
Like, you get to Final Fantasy 15 of where a mountain literally gets up and is the
that's the turtle.
Adamantoids, yeah, and you can accidentally get jetted away too far from it, and then it restarts the battle. Anyway, so I just thought it was funny. The fact this spell can't be counted is good, because obviously the idea being, you can't counter this crit, you can't be killed. I think it should have also given itself protection from your opponents, but I feel like because it's legendary, you can just play the most bullshit Azorius control deck and just have this as your command. I mean, like, you can't counter it. As long as I've got enough mana to be able to protect it with, any number of white protection spells, good luck killing me, because you can't.
I mean, it's just infuriating.
Good luck killing it, because you can't. So that for me is kind of
how do you deal with that in-game?
Oh, you just kill it, because it itself is just an 8/8. It doesn't have any in-grain protection. It just protects you from your opponent. So you can't take damage or anything, but you can just... But if you're playing Azorius, you're definitely playing all of the free counter spells.
Sure.
All of the protection. You're going to be fine. Just blink it. No, thank you. Still unkillable. Anyway... So that's a little drive-by of some legendary cards and a legendary moment from Final Fantasy. And what I think shows just even... I doubt we won't come back, but even if we didn't, I think this is actually a really good showcase of how the flavour of Magic can really tell almost like any story within, like... I guess fantasy games all borrow from the same tropes, and we can, we might touch on that later down the line when we see a few different UBs come out, and it'll be like, hey, look, you've got the potion polties from Lord of the Rings, you've got the potion from Final Fantasy. They all just kind of do the same kind of thing, and that's just the same analog that we have within our game. But hey, they did a really, really big thing, and they've done it kind of pretty well, which means that all of this is going to be very, very, very hard to get sealed. Good luck buying singles, because they'll be cheap as chips, because they're going to buy the shit out of this set.
Well, yeah.
It's going to be opened to hell and back.
Lovely.
So, yeah, and also it did a good job of actually making me want to play the games. So good job also to Square for Square Enix or whoever owns them these days.
Yeah,
because it's got me back into the realm of Final Fantasy as well.
Yeah,
I think it probably did more in the opposite direction. I think Hasbro definitely benefits from this partnership more. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much Final Fantasy as an IP really gains because they already have quite a huge sort of grip on their market.
Yeah.
But there we go. All right, well, a short and sweet one.
It was.
I've got nothing else to say. Do you?
No. Enjoy doing whatever you're doing, people. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Don't worry if it's not going great. It will get better soon.
Ah, very poignant. Let us know what's not going great for you and how it will get better soon via our Bluesky, mtflavouring at bluesky.social. Email us at mtflavouring@gmail.com. We're on Twitters and stuff like that as well. Whatever. Lovely. This has been Magic Flavouring.
See you soon.
Goodbye.